Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today, talking cans, this guy right here, which is the Optimus 6 by Griffin Armament. Broad strokes, what is it? It is a fairly new offering from Griffin Armament. If you're unfamiliar, they've been making cans, silencers, suppressors for quite a while, and they also make kind of everything else, to include complete guns, their own charging handles, everything. But they ended up coming out with this guy, which is the Optimus 6. It is a, like I said, pretty new can for them, and it is a flow-through can. So, idea being a lower back pressure can. They claim extremely low back pressure. I don't know. I'm not sure like how to really measure the metric. We'll get in more on that in a little bit. But I have found it incredibly pleasant to shoot, both to the ear as well as the recoil impulse. Something that is cool is this being the Optimus 6, it is in 6mm, which is really nice because it actually works and sounds great on 5.56, but opens the door for 6mm cartridges such as 6 ARC, which more and more a lot are becoming popular. So being able to have one can that actually does a good job on a couple different calibers versus, hey, I'm gonna get a 30 cal can and shoot it on everything and kind of have like diminished results on kind of everything you shoot it on, aside from what it was made for. But yeah, this thing's done a pretty good job for me. I've put a bunch of rounds through this on a Mark II lower of theirs with a Mark I 12.5-inch upper. And yeah, I've had a blast. Obviously, like range outings, going, just getting some reps, doing stuff along those lines. Occasionally, take this thing for a run through the shoot house. Always a good time. And I also ended up actually shooting this setup at a 2-day vehicle carbine course with Amtac Shooting. And so did a bunch of shooting with it. Some of it was kind of like crawl, walk, run, as far as working up drills, different kind of little nuanced stuff like that, whether it was establishing grip, stance, things along those lines. And then started getting into actually some pretty fun stuff, shooting out of, in and around vehicles, things like that, and working with a team too. Pretty cool. And so yeah, got to put a lot of rounds through this can. What you can't tell from the outside, and I'll give you guys a close-up in a minute, but this is actually printed. It's printed out of 17.4 steel. And so when I say you can't tell from the outside is usually when something's printed, like unless it's printed and then put inside of a tube, you can definitely tell because there's a bunch of lines and stuff like that. This post-printing is actually machined. It's all nice and smooth. And then they actually machine out this back section, and that gets laser welded. And then on the back section, you actually have your serial number and stuff like that. So for whatever reason, if you end up with crazy baffle strike or something, they're able to basically cut that thing off and attach a new actual like stack to it, which is good, rather than having to scrap the entire thing and deal with all the ATF stuff. But on the front here, what is it called? Their Flash Killer Quad Tine, something or other. Basically this end cap here, basically designed to get rid of flash. That's the idea behind it. And it's actually a lot of engineering probably went into that. There's some pretty impressive geometry on this to include all the vents around it, which again, show you guys a close-up. What has been my experience shooting this at night? Well, first of all, let's just appreciate flash at night. Does it matter? Yes. Does it always matter? Absolutely not. Like if you're out there with your friends or by yourself doing up drills at 10 yards, it does not matter. If you're on a two-way range and there's a numerically superior enemy and you're fighting at night, it starts to matter more. Is that your paradigm? I don't know. But If it is, flash definitely matters. I ended up taking this out on that host gun, 12.5, and shot a number of different loads through it, just like strings of 5 basically, seeing what kind of flash, because actually ammo plays a big factor in flash, I have found. Having said that, I posted it. It's part of my flash mitigation series. I'll show you a few of the shots here. Basically, I shot in 60 frames so I could actually slow it down to like half speed, and you can kind of get a better idea of what's happening. Keep in mind, this is filmed like 30 minutes after sunset. Fortunately, my camera does a good job picking up light, but yeah, that's what I got out of it. And again, keep in mind, host gun is a 12.5 inch. Generally with a longer barrel, burn more powder than a shorter barrel, and you can end up with less flash, but that's what I got with this setup. Also, this being marketed as extremely low back pressure. I have no idea, like, how do you measure that? Well, shorthand is honestly just ejection pattern. So to that end, ended up shooting a string of rounds, both suppressed as well as unsuppressed, and then just kind of looking at the ejection pattern respectively between suppressed and unsuppressed. Of course, unsuppressed is 0 back pressure, and then with this suppressed, obviously we're going to add some back pressure, and as you would see and imagine, definitely changes the deflection of those rounds. But how low back pressure as a percentage or something, I have no idea, but definitely not a like traditional higher back pressure can. Things that are really nice are options. So this comes either black or FDE Cerakoted, and then a couple different mounts. So this right here is their dual lock, and basically it threads on, and this locking collar twists and then comes down, totally locks it on there. And they also offer their taper lock. You can get that, and then you can get it basically without this whole section with just a hub mount. So any of the, I'm blanking on the thread pitch, it's like 1.3 something by whatever. Pretty standard thread pitch as far as a like hub. And then you can use whatever hub type you want to marry up to kind of whatever muzzle device you already have, which is really cool. And I will say price wise, definitely like probably a couple $100 cheaper with the hub mount, because they don't have to have all of their mount built into the thing. And as a consumer, it definitely gives you options if you already have other muzzle devices. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid can, and it, like I said, shoots well, sounds good. You saw the flash I got. Again, keep in mind that's that host gun. Something I do really like though is the flexibility with 6mm. More and more people are like, oh man, I might try 6 arc. And honestly, it's a really cool caliber. It does some pretty neat stuff. It also requires a different can if you have a 5.56 can. If you bought a 30 cal can and you're shooting everything through it, then I guess it doesn't matter. I will say we're kind of getting into the time where, yeah, especially as the tax stamp goes away or a lot of companies are giving rebates, people are like, oh, you know what, I should actually buy a dedicated can. And I think that's great. Also, there's not a ton of dedicated 6mm cans. And so this gives you that and the flexibility of shooting on a 5.56 without really giving up much, which is pretty neat. But if it's something you're interested in, there'll be a link down below. You can go check it out. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.